Hi, this is Cindy, and in this video we're going to talk about practicing our handwriting in the Procreate app. In the previous video I talked about using the free practice sheet in the GoodNotes app, but in this video we're going to cover a few tips on how to use the same practice sheet in Procreate. In the previous video I talked about how handwriting and lettering are two very different things. Handwriting is using the more academic side of your brain, and lettering is the more artistic side of your brain. Now for GoodNotes, the GoodNotes app is not really a graphics program. It's not meant to really do any detailed drawing, and the handwriting, it's never going to be perfect in that program because it's not really what it's for. It's for note taking basically, but we've now found ways to use it for digital planning and bullet journals and stuff. But if you do practice, you will get better, and your handwriting will look better. But in Procreate, since it is an image software, a graphic software or app actually, you can really improve, and there are things that you can do. Obviously, practicing is the best thing you can do. Try to practice every day if you can, even if you're just practicing for 5 minutes, just writing or playing, do doodling or circles, and it doesn't have to look great. It gets you used to the iPad as a drawing tool. That's one of the things when I first got the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil, I really didn't like it because of the slick glass surface, because I'm used to that tooth to paper, and after being an artist for most of my life, I'm so used to the drag of paper. Well, I have arthritis, and I've had it since I was in my 20s, and it really helps now to have the iPad, the fact that it is a smooth surface. It really cuts down on the wear and tear on my hands. Also, if you suffer from carpal tunnel, it can really be beneficial. So those are some points, which may not have anything to do with you. You may not have either one of those problems. But like I said, Procreate is a drawing app. It's a fantastic app. I love it. Obviously, I can't do everything that I want to do in it, but it's really amazing. And yes, we can use it for digital scrapbooking, and I'm going to be creating a lot more videos on how to do just that. But I thought, since several of you wanted to know how you could improve your handwriting in Procreate, I thought I would go ahead and cover that first. But remember, this is not lettering. This is just practicing your handwriting. If, say, you were wanting to do some scrapbooking on this app, then you'd be able to journal on here. Or if you're doing bullet journals, or if you're doing digital planning, or if you import a photo that you want to do some writing on to put on Instagram, this is a great program for that. So today we're doing handwriting practice, and I've created a free practice sheet for you. I've already uploaded that into Procreate, but I don't know that I've covered this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and cover it really quick. So basically, you open up your Procreate app. You're just going to tap on the import button on the top right corner, and then you're just going to navigate to wherever you've stored or saved your document. Whether that's iCloud, Dropbox, or a different cloud service. And I've saved mine into iCloud. There it is. You just tap on it and it uploads it for you and opens it right up. So let's just tap on that practice sheet to open it up. Now, the great thing about Procreate as opposed to GoodNotes is you have layers. So you can see up in your right-hand corner, there's the little icon that's supposed to signify layers, two little squares stacked on top of each other. Okay, so we just need to create a new layer. So in the layers panel, you can go ahead and tap on that plus sign, and that's going to give you a new layer. And I think there's something like 37 layers available to you. I wish there were more because I always use a ton of layers for everything. So the other thing I would recommend is select the actual layer that the practice sheet is on, and then swipe to the left and tap on lock. That way you're not going to accidentally write on it. It won't let you. Okay, so go back and select the blank layer, And the great thing about Procreate is you can rotate your practice sheet or anything. Basically, you just use 2 fingers. I use my thumb and middle finger. I don't know why. I guess because it's giving me the most wingspan. And then you can just turn it. So basically, it's 2 fingers to rotate and expand or reduce. I think this is a pretty common gesture for the iPad, so you might already be familiar with that. So I like to do this because this makes it easier for me to replicate what I do with actual pen and paper. Okay, so we make sure that our blank layer is selected, and then you're just going to get a regular brush. Oh, I have a note here that says monoline 105. Oh, see, I think I've saved my monoline somewhere else. Aha. Monoline. Okay. So the monoline brush, I think, is in the inking brushes. I'm not 100% sure because I've moved my brushes all around, and that's something I'm going to do another video on, is brushes and moving them and modifying them and stuff. Over here on the left side of your screen, the top slider, this is where you can change the size of your brush. Now that's obviously way too big. And if you do take 2 fingers and tap, so a 2-finger tap, that is undo. Or you can use the little curved arrows down here at the bottom of your sliders. So you just kind of have to play with this. Okay, I'm not going to make mine as thin as I have on the practice sheet. And again, you can choose a color. Up here, you tap on in the top right, tap on that little circle and choose a different color. I'm just going to keep black. And again, well, I guess since you might not have watched the GoodNotes video, basically we're just going to be going over the top of these lines. And if you did watch the GoodNotes video, you will notice that the lines are already looking better than they did in the GoodNotes app. So we just want to go ahead and practice those lines. Again, they don't have to be perfect. Handwriting is not perfect. What's the fun in that? Just continue practicing those lines. And you can rotate your paper and enlarge or reduce the size to fit whatever is most comfortable for you, what makes you feel good. Just keep practicing, okay? And like I was saying in the previous video, these lines, half circles, circles, looks like zigzags, these are all the shapes and lines that we need to create the whole alphabet and numbers. That's why we're practicing these things here at the top. And I taught lettering for about 20 years in real life lettering, and that's what we did. That's how we started out, is just practicing the lines and shapes that make each letter. Now this is just the uppercase alphabet worksheet. I'm going to do a lowercase one, and then I'll also probably do a cursive down the line, even though cursive is not my thing. Okay, so then we're just going to go ahead and practice these curved lines. There's space for you to continue practicing those, and you want to, because you're not going to always have your guides. Now, one thing, I am a very impatient person. And so my handwriting always looks sloppy and bad because I'm too impatient. But I know for a fact that if I slow down, it looks so much better. So I'm probably going way too fast. But if you slow down, you can do a better job. So you just basically go ahead and trace over. Kind of reminds me of elementary school. Trace over the existing ones and then continue with the allotted space. So you're not always using the traced shapes and lines, because then it kind of becomes a crutch. But basically we're just practicing the strokes that we make with our pens and pencils. And you're like, why am I doing this? Well, zigzag is kind of like an M. And it's just getting you used to doing these shapes in Procreate and on the iPad, because like I was talking about, this is a slick surface. It's very different than writing on paper. It's very frustrating at first. And then this, the upside down, is, oh, Stranger Things, no, like a W. And this would be for you. Okay, we're supposed to continue on. Well, you get the idea there. So just go ahead and trace over the shapes and then continue on with the area for practice. Now we're going to go ahead and start putting our letters together. And all of those shapes and lines and circles that we were practicing before are now going to come together into our letters. And the way I've set this up is we're going to do each stroke that is involved with each letter. Like the A has 3 strokes, an up stroke, a down stroke, then the line that goes across. Go ahead and do the line. Yeah. And then I'm going to practice that line a couple times. Okay. Then we're going to do the line again, and then we have another line, diagonal line. And then we're going to practice that right next to it. And then we're going to do both those lines again, and then we do the line across. And this time I'm going to make it really thin A and then a thicker A. Again, it's not perfect, but I don't really want my handwriting to be perfect, because then it doesn't really look like handwriting. Okay, so the B is just a line. Again, a lot of the letters start out with just a line. I'm going to do that as many times as I can. Oops, that looks bad. So you can use the undo or the 2-finger tap to get rid of it. So a line, and then we're going to use one of those half circles to, and now it looks like a P. And then we're going to go ahead and practice that right next to it. Can fit a couple in there. Okay, and then we're going to do the line, the half circle, and then we're going to add another half circle to complete our B. So let's just practice it without the guide. I'm going to make this one really thin. Go ahead and do it again. I'm going to make this one really big, stretched out. So see, you can get a lot of variations just from that. And it's so much easier to do that in Procreate than it is in GoodNotes. Okay, and then the C is just easy. You can do a thin C or a thicker C. Okay, now with the D is just a line. And I'm not going to go through all of these with you. Line, and then we're going to do a big half circle. Now, of course, that doesn't look very good, so there we go. I'm going to do a really thin D. And then bigger, oops. Then a bigger D. Okay, so you get the idea. Let's see, I think another fun one is the K. Just a line. Do a line and then a diagonal line. And then another diagonal line. And the K is fun to like make it really thin like that. Okay, so basically you can just practice, practice, practice. Obviously, I don't think you're going to want to be doing the whole sheet every day, but if you're ambitious, you can. But let me tell you, the more you practice, the better you get. Once you practice this and feel like your handwriting's getting better, then you can start playing with the letters, like I was showing you how you can do the thicker, the wider letters, or really scrunched up letters. You can really have a lot of fun playing with them, and then also just changing the size of the brush will change how the letter looks. Thick, chunky C. And I'm planning on doing like a little, probably a mini lettering class eventually using Procreate, because there's so many fun things that you can do, whether it's for scrapbooking or card making or whatever. So I hope this has helped you a bit. This is just a real basic video on how to practice your handwriting. I didn't get too much into the Procreate app. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a series of videos on Procreate because I love it so much for digi-scrapping and digital planning and decorating your photos and all kinds of fun stuff. So I hope that you've learned something new, and I'll talk to you later.